Welcome to Into the Mind of a Madman. You are now rocking with me, the Madman. Into the conversation I want to have with you today is real life versus perception. I'm getting this conversation from the battle rapper Geechi Gotti, who finds himself in some troubles with the law due to some activities him and his friends did in the state of Ohio where he resorted to criminal um a criminal life that he once lived. Now, the perception versus reality within this conversation is, are we as an American society trying to live up to a standard that we shouldn't? Now, when I'm talking about perception, I'm not only talking about the perception of who you are to your friends or who you are to your coworkers. I'm also talking about the perception of who you are to your fans or people who may know you and adore you. This is going from this conversation is about the 9 to 5ers all the way to people with fame and notoriety. And I want to start off with the 9 to 5ers because this this is the commonality that we all have, right? Especially growing up in the projects or urban community. We come from humble beginnings, we come from impoverished beginnings, and when we get of age or we get of age to find financial means to support whatever lifestyle we envisioned since we were kids, we start going overboard, we start splurging, and a lot of people like to chalk up our downfall due to financial literacy, and we don't have the proper knowledge or infrastructure to, when we receive money, be it by working or a talent we have. I mean, working for as actually labor work, working 1-2 jobs for many hours, putting in overtime and, like I said, 1 or 2 jobs, or a talent to where maybe you're an actor, a comedian, a rapper, a basketball player, football player, somewhere in the entertainment. When we find this outlet and something were to go wrong, we lose our job, we get hurt, we can't do this talent anymore. We tend to resort back to, quote unquote, what we know. You know what I mean? What we know. And I'm here to say, in desperate times don't mean you need to go to desperate measures. Because when times are good, we should be aware enough that times may not always be as good, and living for the perception when times are good is more so the downfall I feel that we create for ourselves. So when times are bad, we start resorting to what we know. All right, so let's get into it. As I said, the rapper Geechi Gotti. I'm not here to shed my opinion on whether he was wrong or right in his actions. There's so many blogs on that. But like I said, I want to use him as an example of perception versus reality. And let me state the fact that I do not know his reality. I'm just going by the conversation and perception. I feel like for a lot of us, especially coming from the communities we come from and the humble beginnings that we come from, we put a lot of stock in showing we look good to give the perception that we feel good. And like I said, whether it's to friends and family or your coworkers, your spouse, your your followers on social media as of today, you know, we start doing things in abundance. We start doing unnecessary spending and buying of unnecessary things and putting priorities and getting these unnecessary things to where we're not living what our talent, our skill set can actually afford to live, right? So even as a 9 to 5 person, when we get our jobs, our bills may not be straight. Our lifestyle that we choose to live may not accommodate our living conditions. And what I mean by that is, will we rather go out on the town, or we rather get a nice car, or we would rather wear brand new shoes, or have 10 pair of shoes so we can switch up every day of the week and then some, but we don't have adequate funds to have furniture in the house, a bed, headboard for your bed. We living on blow up beds. We living with family members. Nothing wrong with that. But we living off women, or women living off men, or you living with the homies, or and we just living in a way where we're prioritizing our look to the people versus how our home life and our real base, and what should be our base, is set up. You know what I mean? And I feel like we need to stop. We need to stop living these perceptional lives, because we always end up in a position where I'm gonna say this, not always, but most people end up in a position where you never make it when you fake it. There are a few people who can fake it till you make it, but a lot of us is faking it and never making it. We we and like I said, it's not about living in urban communities, because your house is your house, your home is your home. It's just that if you got on $200 jeans, $1,000 jeans, you paying $400 for a belt or a hat or whatever, but you gotta call a homie because your light's about to get cut off or your rent not paid. Things just don't add up. You get what I'm saying? Or if you gotta call your girl because something, your car broke down, things don't add up. That, to me, there should never be a time where your car breaks down and you say you got to pay $1,000 to get your car fixed. Your life shouldn't be in shambles because you got to find a way to pay $1,000 and pay rent. See what I'm saying? But you got a closet full of clothes, and you got I don't know, with the storage boxes full of sneakers. It don't make sense to me. But we living for a perception that when you walk outside and when people see you, you look like $1,000,000. And yes, I'm totally with you. Look good, you feel good, you do good. But we have to actually be good. For some reason, it travels up, right? When even famous people do it. And I don't know why, but the example I always use when I'm talking to people is rappers. Rappers glorify a great lifestyle. You see a rapper, they got nice clothes, they got chains, they got watches, they got cars. They always got the latest clothes and the sneakers and the bags. And like even for women, they got their hair done, nails done, makeup, all of these things, right? But when we see them 5 years later, 3 years later, we find out, oh, I didn't have my publishing. I didn't have my masters. I was getting cheated in this contract. I got signed to this label who stole my money. The accountant stole my money. All of these things. And the perception while they're hot is, oh, they're hot, they're doing it, they're living a life, everything's life of love, life of luxury. But then when they cool down a little, now you start hearing all these horror stories, and now nobody got no money. I The main part that I want to say from a person that goes from a person who's a 9 to 5 to a person who's famous and in between, who if even if you got notoriety at any on any particular level, we need to make our reality the perception, in the stance of, if you don't have the money like that because you out here renting jewelry, renting cars, leasing houses, and all of the things, let's let's make that the standard for the people. Let's not become new rappers and you got one song on the charts and now you live in a mansion. Let's make the norm saying, no, I'm a new rapper. Yes, I got an advance. So yes, I might have bought me a little house to stay. I got me a nice little car so I can move around. But I don't make as much money as you think. So don't get your advance and go buy a Mercedes Benz and go to the jeweler and get you a chain and a watch, iced out watch and all of that. You blowing your money that you got to pay back anyway. But I'm saying, you blowing your money on a perception that your actual skill set doesn't allow you to maintain. You get what I'm saying? A 9 to 5er. If you gotta work two to three jobs, or you got one job and you working 70, 80 hours a week, don't portray a life when you go out that you got on $1,000 jeans. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to not treat yourself on your birthday or a special occasion, or just treat your time from time to time. Treat yourself from time to time. What I'm saying is, when you make it a consistent thing and does your lifestyle, as far as your job or your skill set, doesn't allow you to maintain this consistently, then we gonna end up losing. And we got to do this for the kids who are coming up in the ranks, who are coming up in life, or just like I said, in the ranks of what you're doing, and who's looking at you as an example, as the example to, oh, when when I get there, I can be that. When I get to that level, that's what I'm gonna have because they think it's real. And once they get there, they end up following the same cycle, doing the same thing you doing. And at the end of the day, like I said, maybe only one or two, three people make it to a level where they can consistently maintain that lifestyle. So, far as like I said, far as anybody in the entertainment industry, anybody who's a 9 to 5er, I'm and 9 to 5 can be doctors, lawyers, whatever, whoever's just who actually punches a clock, whether it's hourly or salary. It's just not. I believe a 9 to 5 is just a person who goes to work versus a person who has a particular talent to where, oh, I could just book a show and go perform at this show. You're not expected to be on the clock, right? So 9 to 5 is just all levels of people. But you are portraying a lifestyle that you can't maintain because your skill set doesn't allow you to maintain that. You the one of the examples that I just heard a couple weeks ago was Jeff T talking about him adjusting to not being in the NBA anymore, right? When you're not when these basketball players are in the NBA, they're making millions and all of that, and it's coming in whenever they get paid, maybe once or twice a month, whatever. And when they retire or somehow they're no longer playing, they don't realize that their lifestyle, their upkeep of their lifestyle may be, let's say, $200,000 a month, right? $200,000 a month is not. It's like a blip to somebody who's making $5,000 a month. I mean, $5 million a month, right? So you getting $5 million a month because you know the NBA contracts. So if your lifestyle upkeep, far as your homes, the lights, the grass, the car notes, the gas for the cars, clothing, groceries, whatever it is, right? Your upkeep of your home may be 200,000 a month. It don't affect now. You don't really see it. It just in and out the account. You got chefs, you got babysitters, you got housekeepers, whatever. Everybody, the upkeep 200,000. You don't see it. But once that 5 million, now you're retired or you're out the league for whatever reason, that 5 million leaves, and you no longer now, but like your bank account may be up at this point, right? But you don't realize you still taking out 200,000, 200,000, 200,000, 200,000, 200,000. You get what I'm saying? That's 2.4 million a year. You don't realize that that's coming out because you probably not used to looking at your bank accounts. You probably used to, you got accountants and money managers and all of that, far as who's keeping your upkeep, right? And when you start really like, damn, I lost 2.4 million, and you realize, oh, because you don't have an income anymore. The bank account is now dwindling because you don't have this. Not that they don't have the skill set, because maybe they could start coaching or calling games on TNT or ESPN or whatever. You know, they got other jobs you can do. But for the most part, if you just a basketball player and you haven't found your second career, now you're losing money. You see what I'm saying? And these people had it before. These people had it and they lose it, and now they gotta adjust. A lot of us don't never have it like that. We are constantly trying to build it up, and we're still living a life that don't even allow us to build it up because we keep spending it on being surplus and abundance. I like I said, I'm not against you looking good, you feeling good. I'm not against you having more than one pair of sneakers. I'm not against you having 18 pair of shoes. Whatever you like, men or women. I'm not against women. You getting your nails done every 2 weeks and you getting a fresh hairdo and your eyelashes and your eyebrows and all of the things. The problem comes in is when you don't have the skill set to maintain. I know we like to hate. I know we all hate hearing live within your means because what exactly is your means? Your means to me is what you can control. Your means to me is what you do not have to work for to receive. And what I mean by that is I have a job, I make a certain amount. Let's say $1,000, right? Say I make $1,000 a week. Living within my means is understanding I I can lose this job, whether I get hurt, whether I get fired. It could be one mistake one day where I lose it. So not don't when I get paid $1,000 a week, don't don't let me. I'm not gonna let myself spend 900 of those dollars a week. You get what I'm saying? Let me find a way where if I get paid $1,000 a week, how can I spend 500 the most to where that other five can go into savings, it can go into a business plan, it can go into something that eventually, if this job were to let me go, I can have something that maintains the lifestyle I live. Get what I'm saying? So that's what living in your means is to me. And like I said, it's not going to the brink and spending your to where you're paying all your bills, and then you want to splurge on yourself because you work so hard, and then you got habits. You may have a drinking habit, a smoking habit, or whatever. You might have a gambling habit or whatever, but then you down to your last dollar, and now you waiting on your next week check. That's that's not living within your means. That's you spending up all your money. Um, like I said, from the bottom to the top, we have to start preaching and living the abundance is not needed. We need to start preaching that let's all as a collective say, look, this career provides this type of lifestyle and it don't do no more. You know what I'm saying? This career may provide you $60,000 a year, and this is how you can live in America for $60,000. See what I'm saying? The person making 60,000 shouldn't look like the person who makes 100,000. I know America gives us that right and that freedom too, because all we got to do is go into a store and buy. But let's make it look like it. The 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 new up and coming rapper or actor or the ball player on any level, right? Once you get to the league, You shouldn't be buying something the same things as somebody who's a 10-year veteran. You get what I'm saying? Let's start really setting standards to what things look like so we can change the cycle we live in. Now to bring it back to Geechi Gotti, a lot of people were like the perception is, hey, battle rappers, they don't make that much. They had a time where they did make a lot. Now he had to go do what he had to do to support his family or whatever. Listen, just like the basketball players, the battle rappers got to do the same. The rappers got to do the same. Be prepared for when the times are not good. See what I'm saying? That you could always live a lifestyle that you maintain. That you don't have to hit a lick to maintain. You we we don't have to resort back what I know to maintain the lifestyle we want. See what I'm saying? I I hate the fact that the conversation is about, well, maybe he made this much, so now when times is hard, he got to go out here and do what he know so he can make up for his family, so they don't have to feel that uh recession within his house, within his household, versus, well, he was getting it, it ain't there no more. Now find a way to adjust to that versus trying to maintain what once was. But you don't have to maintain what once was if we change how we look at things, because we will never be there unless you got it like that. You get what I'm saying? I believe I heard Joe Button say when he bought his Ferrari, I didn't buy my Ferrari until I could afford 10 of them. That's what I'm saying. Maybe y'all understand Joe more than me. You you until you can afford 10, you shouldn't buy one. I know we all heard though similar references before, but that's really what it is. Um, I want to end on this with the Geechi Gotti thing. I'm not a total believer in he didn't have it, right? I'm a believer in maybe he just wanted more. I'm not quick. I don't know Geechi Gotti. I don't know his circumstances, right? And a lot of us don't. But the conversation is quickly, oh, he must have been doing that because he fell on hard times. He fell on hard times. And what I'm preaching here today is about abundance, not hard times. I think the hard times will come eventually for a lot of people. I'm talking about you could be up, but sometimes it's some downs. You get what I'm saying? Hard times come. Right now, the greatest country in the world is the United States, as they say, right? It's somewhat a depression or all of that, right? There is mountains and valleys. But I'm not the one to say he was going through a valley. I'm saying the downfall before he had to go out there and do something illegal, if that was his feeling, it may have just been him wanting more, in the sense of, hey, maybe I got all my bills straight. Maybe I got savings accounts and stocks and whatever. He could have all that, and then maybe he just wanted to go on another trip. I want to bring my wife and kids to Paris. I want to bring my wife and kids to Disney World. I want to bring my wife and kids on a 7-day cruise. See what I'm saying? I want to maybe do one or two, three of them things this particular year. So instead of the slow money and working every day and letting it build up to maybe I do that next year, let me go out here and hit a lick so I can just get that money and that money go to that. You get what I'm saying? I don't think everybody is just doing things just because they are in a bad spot. I think it all starts in living a life that your skill set, your work ethic, your your ability to maintain your financial consistency just it's just not there. You're not there yet. You get what I'm saying? Because to me, I, I seen Geechi Gotti. He had upcoming battles. He does a podcast once a week or twice a week or whenever they put out. I know he hosts some shows. I know at one point they used to say he used to sell hair. I wonder if that was still going. He had outlets, is all I'm saying. So he seemed like a pretty smart individual. I don't think he was a person who needed. I don't think he was a person who found himself in a position where he was in dire straits, right? I think what it was, we like to have more than what we can provide at the moment, and we end up in the long run suffering for it. Well, with that said, I appreciate you being here with me, sticking through this thing. I'm out.